Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new around here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, I think I've gotten caught up in a situation involving lying to/in court and I don't know what to do. Quick background, my parents passed away several years ago in an accident. My mom's parents are the only living grandparents, my sister, brother and I are their only grandchildren. This is a very long story, so I will try to be as brief as possible. My grandparents are approaching 90 and both have recently started to be affected by Alzheimer's. My brother has been helping them for several years, especially after our parents died. My grandparents have always been very active, very healthy, very independent people, and I thought it was ridiculous that my brother would bring them meals. Or shovel their walkway, mow the lawn, help them to doctor's appointments, etc. because they were perfectly able to handle that themselves. Earlier this year, my grandparents were diagnosed with Alzheimer's. My brother was given medical and durable power of attorney, which was apparently how my grandparents set up their living trust. A few months after the diagnosis, my brother moved them into an assisted living home. My sister did some research and was getting very worried about everything. She explained that our brother now owned all of my grandparents' real estate properties and all their bank accounts and stocks and whatnot, and that our grandparents were now powerless. That our brother controlled everything. I was really upset and worried, especially when my brother started renting one of the real estate properties out. So my sister and I decided to try to contest things. She found a lawyer who came out to my grandparents' assisted living and met with them. We talked to him about how my brother was taking advantage of my grandparents and how he had gotten them to sign over everything to him. That lawyer called my sister back a few days later and said he wasn't going to represent us because there was no case. So my sister found a different lawyer and things are now in probate court. She has way more knowledge about this whole thing, so she has taken the lead on it. The new lawyer filed complaints with the probate court that Number 1, my brother had taken advantage of my grandparents by fostering dependence when he was bringing them meals, doing yard work and taking them to the doctor when they were able to do it themselves, and therefore putting himself in position to be put in charge of their money. Number 2, my grandparents' money/assets are being misused and or stolen. Number 3, my brother is renting out the house at below market rates. Number 4, he's trying to isolate my grandparents by taking control of all their affairs and moving them into a home. We are asking the court to remove my brother as power of attorney and as trustee of the living trust. Now here is my dilemma. The probate court ordered my brother to submit an accounting of my grandparents' finances, and he did. Our lawyer got a copy of it last week and said that everything is not only in order, but that my brother had improved some investments to bring in more money to the trust. Our lawyer also spent a little time going over some of the information in the trust. My grandparents updated their trust when my parents died to make my brother the first person in line to take over their affairs on incapacity or death. When my grandparents pass, all of their assets are to be divided equally among my brother, my sister and me, except any outstanding loans any of us still have with them would be deducted from that person's share. He said there is also a no contest clause in the trust, but that he needed to do more research on what that means. He said that there's no way the court will make any changes based on the accounting because it is, as he said, immaculate. However, if we have more info about my brother mistreating/isolating my grandparents, that we will fight on that. Today my sister is telling me that she believes my brother has falsified the accounting that was done and that she's going to have proof of it and that we will get my brother removed. She also plans to have the part in the trust removed about the outstanding loans being deducted and get legal guardianship over my grandparents. I am starting to have second thoughts and I'm not sure what to do here. If my brother falsified the accounting, what happens? If my sister comes up with proof, but I have a nagging suspicion that she's going to make something up and gives it to the court, can I get in trouble for being on her side? Short update, I'm getting my name the hell off this thing. My sister is so smooth talking, so damn smooth talking. I talked to her without saying anything about this post. She did not give me any specifics about what kind of proof she can get or what exactly she thinks our brother is doing to screw over the finances or hurt our grandparents, but she talks in such a convincing manner that I was about ready to discount everything posted here. I asked her how she thought we should manage my grandparents' care after my brother was removed, and she said she thought we should move them back to their house and hire a cleaning lady off Craigslist to come out once a week or so Grammy didn't have to worry about cleaning. Then I sucked it up and called my brother. He couldn't talk much since he needed to get his kids in bed soon and he wasn't very friendly, which I think I deserve. I told him that I think I was being lied to and that our sister was acting shady. He agreed to answer my questions. I asked him why he had moved them to such an expensive assisted living, and I guess some months back Grammy left a pot on the stove and left to go shopping. My brother stopped by while she was out and found the pot on the lit burner billowing smoke, burnt and ruined, and Grandpa was watching TV, totally unaware of the smoke. And Grandpa had taken the batteries out of the smoke detector last time Grammy burned something, so the damn house could have burned down. He moved them out right after that. And whoever said my sister owes our grandparents a lot of money was right, according to my brother just over $500,000. I feel sick, but it is worse than that even. Okay, so Grandpa kept really thorough financial files, and he had signed loan agreements with whoever owed money, and he kept everything in a file cabinet. Yes, I also owe them some money for a car, but it is down to $4,000 and I've made every monthly payment. So after my brother got my grandparents moved into assisted living, he went to gather all the financial documents so he could get everything in order, and he found that all the loan agreements my sister had signed were missing from her file. He suspects she took them there so there would be no record of what she owes. Apparently Grandpa kept photocopies of the important stuff, including loan agreements and a payment ledger book in a fire safe as backup, so my brother has proof of what everybody owes. I feel sick, I don't know what to do. This is a nightmare. I'm going to call the lawyer tomorrow and find out how to get removed from this mess. And a user in the comments said, going devil's advocate here, your brother, sensing the signs of your grandparents' dementia before they were diagnosed with Alzheimer's, started helping them with chores, etc., while you and your sister did nothing. Then after they were diagnosed, he moved them into assisted living, which from my experience is not cheap. We sold my mother's home to pay for her assisted living. The money went fast, and as she noted, many left that place for nursing homes not because their health worsened, but they ran out of money. You don't say that your brother is keeping you and your sister from them, just you are upset he is spending down their assets to keep them safe, healthy and happy in their end years. Not satisfied, you and your sister found a lawyer to give you the answers you want to hear so you can blow what remains of your grandparents' assets on a lawyer and court, dooming them to a nursing home earlier than their money would have otherwise allowed. Not sure if there are any loans, though I suspect you or your sister owe your grandparents some money, but it sounds as if any money left over will be split evenly among the three of you. No contest clause means anyone who contests the will and the will is found valid gets nothing. Of course, if the will is found to be invalid, the will goes away and the laws of interstate apply. You show no evidence your grandparents are being mistreated or isolated, there is a false accounting, or that your brother is stealing their money. Instead, I see two grandchildren upset that their brother is doing the right thing by your grandparents and making sure their final years are good, even if that means spending down their assets, which would happen anyway if they went to a nursing home. Is there anything I have missed or misinterpreted? If not, I don't see a legal issue, but I do see two greedy heirs worried that their money is being spent by those who have the money or their POA for them before they can inherit. If that is the case, I will keep my opinion of you and your sister's character mostly to myself. From personal experience though, you and your sister may not like it, your brother sounds as if he is doing everything possible to make your grandparents' final years as good as they can be. That is not cheap. Instead of worrying about your inheritance, you and your sister should be asking yourselves what will you do if your grandparents outlive their money. Keep paying for assisted living out of your pockets or dump them in a nursing home and let your brother deal with it. And you know guys, fun fact on the side, actually I wanted to read this story a long time ago because it is so interesting, but there only was one further update and the story did not have a good resolution. However, now, around 10 or 20 days ago, there has finally been a further update, a final update, so now I can read the story. So in case you enjoy legal advice and especially the updates, please don't forget to like the video and post some star emojis in the comments if you want to support my channel. Thank you so much in advance. Update to the story. First, I would like to thank everyone here for your input, suggestions and the harsh words that it turns out I needed last fall. A few people commented that I sounded young, and that is pretty true. My brother and sister are much older than me, and my parents had me later in life. My mom used to say I was her favorite surprise. So yeah, I'm just getting started in college and don't have much real-world experience, which is not an excuse for how I acted, but it is what it is and I'm trying to be better. I took a humanities class that covers aging this semester because of this whole situation with my grandparents and I learned so much. I really enjoyed it too. I'm thinking about changing my major so I can go into a field that helps protect the elderly, like maybe social work. So I told our lawyer back in November that I wanted nothing to do with the court case anymore and gave him a general outline of why I had come to believe that my sister wasn't being totally honest. He filed stuff to show I was withdrawing my name from the case and then he fired my sister as a client. She dismissed, I think this is the right term, her case since she no longer had a lawyer, and after some soul searching and a couple visits with a counselor at school, I told her not to contact me again and blocked her. My brother was willing to forgive me for some reason. I am grateful for it, but I was a real jackass until I posted here about my grandparents' situation. He keeps me in the loop, which is how I know how the last almost 5 months have played out. My brother's attorney for the trust started getting emails from my sister's new lawyer. This would be the third one she has used about her complaints over my grandparents' estate later in the fall. She was claiming to lawyer number 3 that my brother was hiding bank accounts and money, that he was letting the trust's real estate properties go to junk and not taking care of them, that he didn't have insurance on the properties, he was letting people live there for free, and a bunch of other stuff that I could see was completely not true. She also started telling my grandparents these lies, which upset them, and being confused, they believed her for a bit and were just awful to my brother and me. Lawyer number 3 was sending demanding emails to my brother's lawyer for him to show proof that the houses are in good shape, insured and not being misused, on and on and on. After a couple of months, my brother's lawyer got an email directly from my sister where she listed demands such as my brother must let her take inventory of all my grandparents' possessions and take some keepsakes for herself, that any renters had to be evicted immediately, that he had to pull all the real estate up for sale within 30 days and other things that my brother's lawyer explained that he absolutely did not have to do. And if these things did not happen within 30 days, she would be forced to pursue legal action. And she CC'd her lawyer on this email. Well, my brother's lawyer got a call that same day from lawyer number 3 saying he had nothing to do with that email and was not consulted. That was the last we heard anything from lawyer number 3 and all was quiet for a few months. And that brings me to the current situation. My brother's lawyer recently forwarded him copies of emails with, drumroll please, my sister's new lawyer, lawyer number 4. This lawyer is from a firm that does local ads like, got a DUI? Charged with a crime? We can help. I don't know why they are taking on a probate situation, but it looks like they are. And really, it is the same stupid claims she made with lawyer number 3, and my brother's lawyer has already gone over with him exactly what he's supposed to be doing as the trustee, so he knows he doesn't have to do any of the stuff she is saying. It is just, this is getting very hard on my brother, he's just so tired of it all. What I want to know is, I guess not so much about what legal steps he should be taking, because his lawyer has that covered, but maybe some advice from you guys since you've been dealing with all types of people in court. Why is she doing this? I mean, she apparently wants to be the trustee, but my brother's lawyer said that probate court would never give it to her since my brother has shown that he's managing everything exactly right. So why does she continue? Is there anything we can do to get her to stop? My brother's lawyer said he has seen people act like this for years, but he didn't have any advice on anything we could do to get her to back off, since she is not breaking any laws. I would appreciate any advice or suggestions anyone has. And a user in the comments said, "That is great, OP, that you're on the side of your stand-up brother. I appreciate your candor and honesty about your actions as well." Depending on how much of a nuisance / cost your sister's actions are to your brother, he may be able to file a lawsuit against her for the time and financial cost she has cost him and his lawyer in frivolous legal actions. This course is time consuming and costly unto itself. He sounds like he's already incredibly busy. Father with young kids and overseeing your grandparents' health. Have you tried approaching your sister to ask her to stop? It is the least you could do, seeing as what your brother has done for your grandparents and the grace he has shown you. And I have to say, guys, this story really took a total 180 or maybe a 360 depending on how you look at it, because in the beginning I thought the brother is actually the bad guy here. And the final update to the story. So right near 5 years have passed since my update on my sister doing her best to manipulate her way into getting her hands on our grandparents' substantial assets. This is the final update because both grandparents have passed and my brother filed the final tax return for the trust last month, which was the last thing needed to settle it. Here's what happened. My grandpa suffered a stroke several months after my last update because it happened at an assisted living facility just down the street from a major hospital. He was able to initially survive. My brother felt it was only right to inform our sister, but I did not agree. She took his call, thanked him for calling, and never came to the hospital. My brother and I sat in the ICU in shifts for days with my grandpa. Grandpa held on for several months, was even able to return to live with his wife, but he was obviously not the same and pneumonia took him in the end. His death pretty much sent Grandma over the edge. Her Alzheimer's progressed quickly after she lost Grandpa and needed to be moved to the memory unit. Grandma held on for years. Pneumonia took her this summer before the pandemic. My sister never visited our grandparents after my last update. She did not give up on her quest to be a terrible person though. Lawyer number 4 lasted over 3 years. They settled into a rhythm of sending frequent demand emails to the trust lawyer for copies of checks, proof that estate properties were insured, and trust bank records, anything they were technically entitled to review due to my sister being a beneficiary. Anytime a property had a necessary repair, in other words plumbing issue causing sewage to leak in a house, my sister would have her lawyer demand copies of everything, insist on getting multiple quotes for time-sensitive work, anything to drag the process out. Every year when my brother would submit the trust accounting, weeks of work would follow due to her demanding clarification on every medical bill or questioning why Grammy needed $100 worth of clothing from Target or whatever random tidbit she would latch onto, all one at a time, dragging everything out. She also discovered that she could file complaints in probate court. The judge would send the complaints to mediation. My brother wouldn't agree to anything in mediation and my sister would have her lawyer withdraw the filing. This happened multiple times. The trust's legal costs were staggering as a result of all of this. When Grammy passed, the trust's law firm submitted an equitable distribution proposal to my sister's lawyer, including her outstanding debt, which she never attempted to repay to the trust and which she continued to deny in spite of the documentation my brother had. My brother even offered to reduce the amount she owed if she wanted to take one of the real estate properties she had previously expressed interest in, so he wouldn't have to deal with selling it. She refused the proposal if any of her debts were included. There was some back and forth for a couple months and then she went quiet for a bit. Then came lawyer number 5. The trust's lawyer assumed, probably correctly, that lawyer number 4 realized his easy payday of sending nasty emails and filing motions that would go nowhere was over and stopped representing her. So she got a new guy and my brother had to start the whole process over. This new lawyer came to the table with only my sister's version of the story, including some new embellishments about my brother hiding my grandparents from her and never knowing where they were, their health status, if they were even alive. The new lawyer really latched on to that part. The trust's lawyer had told my brother early on to shoot them an email with any updates or changes to my grandparents' status and location, such as hospitalizations or ER trips or transfers to different assisted living accommodations, and he always did so. The lawyer who took the lead on the handling the trust said it was hilariously satisfying to provide copies of my brother's emails to her and her subsequent emails to whichever lawyer my sister was on, with set updates to lawyer number 5. He suddenly had a more pleasant demeanor. This is already long, so I will simplify the next several months, late 2019 to early 2020. Sister at first refused distribution proposal. Trust lawyer simply submitted the proposal to probate court for them to approve. Sister was suddenly fine with accepting the proposal. She asked for cash distribution, less her debts, no property in kind. Brother takes the rental property in kind, asks if I had interest in the vacation property our sister had previously wanted but no longer did. I have good memories there, decide to accept the offer so I can visit the property and so my brother can still use it. Everyone signs the distribution agreements, papers are filed in court and it is done. My brother sells the remaining real estate property, a townhome my grandparents lived in before entering assisted living, and cuts checks for the cash distribution. And we haven't heard a word from our sister since, not in any form. She deposited her check immediately and that was that. It is so anticlimactic after all the hassle she caused over the last 5 years. The only thing she accomplished with these years of greed was to cost the trust something like $600K in legal and related fees. That's money that would have been split among the 3 of us. She cost herself over $200,000 for nothing. She didn't even take the vacation property she had claimed to want so badly. Despite everything, my brother offered it to her first because it apparently held so much sentimental value. Apparently, once she saw the appraisal on it from 2019, it wasn't that sentimental to her. It appraised at $90K. It's not some fancy resort property or something, just a small vacation home in a pretty area. I guess it is a happy enough resolution, all things considered. I was able to pay off my small amount of student debt from undergrad and I will be able to pay for grad school. I elected to take a year off to work in a non-profit and then the pandemic happened, with a little nest egg. I have a cute vacation house that is now suddenly worth a whole lot more, but I'm not counting on its valuation staying where it is. My brother and I just use it for its intended purpose. My brother elected to take the rental property as part of his share, and after all the crap he's had to deal with, he definitely deserves the rental income. I helped him where I could in all this mess and I attended the mediation meetings with him to speak on behalf of the trust, but he did the hard work. My brother and I are cool, we are friends even. He forgave me for being an utter ass all those years ago and I get to be the cool uncle now. I'm not even sure if any of the same posters are still active in this sub, but if you were around then, thanks for the brutal honesty and for explaining what was going on before I made any terrible mistakes. And I have to admit guys, that is an absolute horror situation to see siblings fight for an inheritance that was meant for all 3 of them. But I suppose whenever money comes into play, then often, or let's say more often than not, friends or family does not mean much. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.